Tonight on Connecticut's news station, it's crunch time at the state capitol. With only hours left in the legislative session, lawmakers are burning the midnight oil. The Fox 61 team is with them tonight, closely following which bills make it through the chambers and which ones slip through the cracks.
Parts of the state with severe thunderstorms this afternoon and even tonight, but better weather is ahead, at least temporarily. We'll explain.
The fire might be out, but the area is far from safe. New Britain officials have a warning to locals following a massive fire that tore through a commercial building last night.
Now at 10, this is Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
We begin tonight at the Capitol. There are only 2 hours left in the legislative session, and lawmakers are scrambling to make the most of it. Thanks for joining us for the news at 10. I'm Brent Harden.
And I'm Sarah Sanchez. Both chambers have been making last-minute changes and casting votes on an array of bills, still waiting for action. Lawmakers have a strict midnight deadline to get everything done.
Fox 61's Jake Garcia is live at the Capitol tonight, trying to keep up with all the chaos, and he has the very latest on what's making it through and what's being left on the cutting room floor, so to speak. Jake?
Well, Brent and Sarah, I can tell you that under Connecticut law, as you mentioned, the session must come to an end at the stroke of midnight tonight. So lawmakers have a little under 2 hours before the session is set to adjourn. Now, as we reported, it is a short session, so lawmakers have had to move quickly to get things done and tackle some key issues in the state this year. So they've had less than 100 days from start to finish, meaning that many bills have been left untouched here in the final hours. Like a bill that would make falsifying tickets a crime. This comes after a lengthy investigation involving Connecticut State Police. Now, other key bills not likely to make it before the stroke of midnight, street takeover enforcement, veteran supports, and the big climate bill that Governor Lamont told lawmakers at the very beginning needed to be a priority. And on the other hand, Governor Lamont essentially killing a bill that would regulate artificial intelligence in the state, threatening to veto the bill if it is passed through. Now, there have been proposals that have been able to clear both chambers, like a package of housing policies that was passed today, and grants for seniors across the state that could pay for home accessibility renovations, and expanding child care across the state. Now, those bills now have to go to Governor Lamont's desk for his signature. The governor will sign off on a spending plan for federal COVID funds that was passed by the General Assembly yesterday. Now, lawmakers have still been debating bills that would give local communities control back, like an opportunity to get rid of the car tax in exchange for a higher property tax assessment. Now, they have less than 2 hours now to get that done, as we mentioned, racing against the clock at that tight deadline. Also, a note here, a pair of state lawmakers announcing their plans to step down from the General Assembly. State Representative Peter Tursick of New Britain and State Senator Marilyn Moore of Bridgeport both announced that they would not be seeking re-election, so 2 seats soon to be open here in the Connecticut General Assembly. Reporting live right outside the House of Representatives, Jake Garcia, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
All right, Jake, thank you. And our crews are staying at the Capitol all night long, closely following the end of this legislative session. For more information about which bills are moving to Governor Lamont's desk and which ones are being left on the cutting room floor, as we said, scan the QR code on your screen to download the free Fox 61 app or head to fox61.com. It was also a very busy day outside the state capitol. Lawmakers, not the ones congregating there, though. A group of pro-Palestinian protesters gathered this evening, echoing similar calls made by student protesters on college campuses around the country. They were advocating for a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas and for the state to stop funding military weapon manufacturers that they accuse of fueling the bloodshed. Protesters we spoke to say it's not just a political issue, it's a humanitarian one.
The issue of Palestine is not an issue of identification, it is an issue of humanity. Although I do have identity stakes in this crisis, what defines being human is kindness, and I'm here because of that.
Now, the protests remained peaceful, but there was a brief moment of tension when a state lawmaker emerged from the Capitol asking protesters to stop chanting the line "From the river to the sea," arguing it tarnished the group's message. The protesters responded by chanting that same line even louder. All right, turning to the weather now, and things have settled down after this evening's storms, but some parts of the state are still cleaning up. Yeah, that video sent in by a viewer in Putnam. The sound you hear is hail hitting the ground, along with a few rumbles of thunder there.
Yeah, pretty dangerous and destructive. Thankfully, these storms cleared out by tonight, but quite a wild afternoon for some parts of the state. Chief Meteorologist Rachel Frank is here with more. You got a picture of that hail, Rachel.
I wanted to share with you because if you weren't in northeastern Connecticut, you would never know that this happened. In fact, a lot of the state had a really lovely evening and afternoon. So this is from Shannon in Putnam. There was hail in Putnam and Pomfret. So this is northeastern Connecticut that was up to 1 inch to 1.5 inches in diameter. So that's the size of a golf ball or a ping pong ball. And even this evening, there were some leftover lightning strikes and rumbles of thunder out there. This is from Christopher Graham. Kind of relaxing from a distance, right? But when you're in that storm, it can be rather stressful. And a lot of you guys in northeastern Connecticut were saying that today, that they were some of the most intense storms that you've been through. It was this initial batch that moved through that sparked the first severe thunderstorm warnings of the day, and it was just nonstop in northeastern Connecticut. Some areas picking up 3+ inches of rain. The shoreline even had a few rumbles of thunder this evening, but now this is what the current radar looks like. It is all dry. The storms have moved out, and I think tomorrow will be a nicer day, although it's not going to be too hard to do that. Temperatures in the 60s to around 70. I'm sure you felt the humidity out there today and even tonight, but it'll drop back to more comfortable levels by the time you wake up tomorrow morning. Overnight lows in the 50s tomorrow. We're waking up to some sunshine. By midday, we'll see increasing clouds, and there is a chance for some showers later in the day or at night. But overall, it doesn't look too bad. We're looking at highs in the 60s to around 70 degrees. Cooler with more numerous showers on Friday. Your full forecast coming up.
All right, Rachel, thank you. Naugatuck police have arrested and formally charged a man they accuse of trying to assault an officer with a knife last month. Body camera footage captured the officer's interaction with 24-year-old Kyle O'Kreen at Bombers Pond Park on April 25th. They say O'Kreen would not drop the knife even after multiple commands and being tased. They then shot him when he refused to drop the knife. O'Kreen has been in the hospital for nearly 2 weeks now. He was discharged yesterday and arrested. He faces several charges, including attempted assault on a police officer.
Wallingford trooper's actions have been deemed justified. He ultimately choked a suspect during a violent arrest last year. The Office of the Inspector General released their official report today, and in it they said Trooper Joshua Wedge was protecting his colleague. A person called saying Ira Turner had violated a protective order. Turner led troopers on a car chase on I-91, and during the arrest, the suspect had another trooper in a chokehold. State law doesn't allow a chokehold except if an officer is in deadly danger. The report points out the trooper had Turner in a chokehold for a short period of time. The report also notes the law doesn't prohibit the use of a chokehold if defending another officer.
Hartford police say they are cleaning up the streets. Literally this time, they've arrested 4 men accused of illegally dumping trash around the capital city. Police say they've been investigating this for months after fielding several reports of mattresses and box springs and tires being left around the Parkville neighborhood. The men, ages 25 to 64, are all Hartford residents. They surrendered to police today and face illegal dumping charges.
For more than a century, the Boy Scouts of America has been preparing young people to live lives of civic-minded leadership. Their mission won't change, but their name will. Fox 61's Matt Karen spent the day with Connecticut councils to get reaction to the rebranding.
We are an organization for all. It's time our name reflects that.
That's the CEO of the Boy Scouts of America making the announcement, which quickly filtered down to troops across America, including Connecticut.
Changing the name to evolve and really represent what the organization is the natural next step.
So the name is changing, but the mission remains the same.
Our mission, our purpose, and our values are not changing in this. We're still rooted in serving our communities and preparing young people to make ethical and moral choices over their lifetime.
Connecticut is home to 5 Boy Scout councils. Fox 61 talked to representatives of 2 of them, including State Representative Pat Boyd, an Eagle Scout of the Rivers Council.
I like to think a big part of serving in the legislature comes from taking citizenship in the nation and being told that, you're expected to give back. So there's no better program for leadership development than scouting.
But the Boy Scouts aren't without controversy. Declaring bankruptcy in 2020, selling their land, including Deer Lake in Killingworth, largely to pay sexual abuse settlements. Something representatives of the Connecticut Yankee Council say is part of the organization's past, not its future.
And just in 2023, nationally, the Boy Scouts of America, Scouting America, hired a chief safeguarding officer that reports directly to the CEO and established a youth protection committee of experts in the child protection and survivors of abuse in scouting.
And although some say the name change goes too far, Scouting America, who began accepting girls in 2018, now says they make up 20% of their membership.
Scouting is inclusive to all parts of society now, as we should be. And all that we ask is you live the Scout Oath and Law, which frankly, if those are the laws of the land, we wouldn't have to pass a lot of laws in the next chamber over here.
Over the past 5 years, Scouting America has already enrolled 176,000 girls, 6,000 of whom have already reached the rank of Eagle Scout. And here in Connecticut, there are more than 14,000 scouts. Reporting in East Hartford, Matt Caron, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
We have an update for you now on that fire that tore through a commercial building in New Britain last night. The flames are out at 59 High Street, and town officials are just starting to assess the damage now. New Britain Mayor Aaron Stewart says the stability of the structure was compromised, and they are still waiting on a structural engineer to investigate. She's also asking locals to avoid Columbus Boulevard between High and Washington Streets. Bricks are reportedly falling onto the road from the building and could injure pedestrians. No word yet on what sparked that fire, and luckily there were no injuries.